Welcome again to Om Yoga with Teresa Diaz, Floor Asanas level 1 and 2. This is part 2. We're going to continue with what we're doing in part 1. We're going to do this sort of tabletop with the elbows down, but we're going to bring the elbows towards the rib cage, elbows turned back, and going to bring the chin between the hands and then the chest between the hands, and we're going to go all the way to the floor, pressing your hips down and just lifting the belly button off the floor, pointing your buttocks towards your heels. Lift the knees, strain the front of your legs, lift the chest, press the hands down, and you want to almost squeeze the hands towards the feet as you bring the center of the chest forward. You're feeling the opening of the heart, and you're going to press your hands down more. Press those fingers down and bring the center of the chest forward. And elbows towards each other. Inhale, exhale. And then you're going to start to strain the arms up into upward facing dog. Roll the shoulders back. Elbows, try to face them towards your rib cage. Lift the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Shoulder blades towards each other, and your shoulder blades melt down towards your hips. And as you exhale, come back into table and then back into child pose to release any tension that accumulated in your lower back and sacrum area. And you can continue doing this a couple of times more. Okay? And you can pause the video, do it again. Now I'm just moving the blanket back, coming back into child pose, pressing the tops of my feet down, pressing the shins down. Again, elbows on the floor, look forward, rolling the shoulders back, shoulder blades towards each other. Center of the chest moves towards the center of the hand, and slowly, as you squeeze the hands towards the feet, you strain the body, pressing the body down, pressing your hips down, and lifting the belly up. Buttocks towards the heels, completely. The lower back is released. No tension in the lower back. This is not about the lower back. This is about opening the chest and opening the upper part of your back. Center of the chest forward in a little cobra, squeezing the hands towards the feet, elbows towards each other, feeling the release of the opening of the chest, shoulder blades towards each other, and melting down towards the sacrum. And again, you're going to press your hands down. You're going to come up into an upward facing dog or back into table and back into child pose. And stretch and breathe into your lower back, releasing the lower back and feeling the strengthening of the shoulders. All the shoulders are, there's a lot of tendons and ligaments connected to the shoulders. You really have to be careful with this. Keeping the elbows towards each other, the shoulders roll back again, chin between the hands, chest between the hands, and then you're going to lift up in a tiny cobra. You see the head is aligned with the spine, and then you're going to lift your hands off the floor. And you're going to bring your hands outward, palms facing down, and then forward, palms facing each other. Keeping the shoulders rolled back, the shoulder blades moving towards your sacrum. And then the hands back, palms facing down, elbows towards each other. You're going to grab a hold of the hands and stretch back, like trying to reach back towards the center of your heels and relax. You can do this several times. Again, we're going to roll the shoulders back. You can maintain the elbows bent, but always the elbows moving towards each other. The hands off the sacrum, and you're going to lift the center of the chest forward, 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 forward. Melting the hips down, bringing the belly button in, moving the buttocks towards the heels, lifting the knees, pressing the tops of the feet down, and then you're going to release the hands outward into like sort of an airplane. And then upwards, sort of like Superman. And then lift the knees and feet off of the floor into Shalabhasana. The tailbone faces downward and towards the center of the feet, so not to hurt your lower back. And the center of the chest moves towards the hands. Shoulders away from the ears, shoulder blades towards each other, melting towards the sacrum. And as you exhale, bring the hands beside the chest. And then press yourself very slowly back into a table and back into child pose. And breathe into any of those muscles in your lower back that got very tense. This is such an excellent exercise to release lower back tension as well as to release psoas tension and also shoulder tension. Why? Because you're opening the chest and also you're making the belly and your abdomen strong so that your lower back can release. Okay, coming back into table. We're going to not drop the elbows down, just keep the elbows lifted. And we're going to do sort of a chaturanga, very easy chaturanga. As you exhale, shoulders roll back, elbows towards the rib cage, and you're going to try to reach your chin towards the floor. If you can't, just do it halfway, just like this. Elbows towards the rib cage. You can touch the floor with your chin or not, but feeling your triceps really working, feeling your upper back really working, and also your chest stretching and getting stronger and stronger. You can do 5 or 6 here, coordinating with the breath, and go back into child pose. Nice. Breathing into your triceps, shoulders, lower back, upper back, chest. Okay, you're going to come back into tabletop. You're going to walk forward and just get the blanket away from you. You know, maybe your knees hurt. If your knees hurt, keep the blanket there. Mine just stopped hurting because they got warm. You're going to stretch the left leg back, press the heel back, press the outside of the left thigh, roll it inward, and then your belly button does not hang. It reaches the spine and creates a nice straight back. See the nice straight back? Your hips are parallel to the floor. Don't move your hips and lift your foot up. You're going to stretch back with the heel first and then with the balls of the feet. Okay? Let's do it again. Reach back with the balls of the feet, making a straight line between the crown of the head and the balls of the feet. And then you're going to touch the floor as you exhale with the toes, and then lift up as you inhale without moving the hips. Don't let the left hip open. Keep the left hip facing down, the same as your right hip. You can do 5, coordinating with the breath, feeling the strengthening of the back of the leg, and then relax, come back into table. You're going to do the right leg as well. Right heel all the way back, feeling the strengthening of the knee. The kneecap moves upward towards the hip, and then the belly button moves upwards, and the hip doesn't move. And then you reach your ball of the foot back, and then inhale, and then you touch the floor, and then exhale as you lift up. Don't let the right hip open. The right hip is at the same distance of the floor as the left hip. Keep the belly up and tucked in towards the spine, making that lower back nice and strong, making the buttocks strong. You come back into table. Okay, now we're going to do like the lifting the knee like a little doggy in the hydrant, peeing in the hydrant, and you can start doing circles. So the circles as wide as possible, opening the hips, feeling the opening of the hips. Don't let the belly drag down. Keep your elbows nice and strong. You can look down, but don't sag your head down. And then you can change the direction of the circles, really feeling those hips beginning to open. And then you're going to bring that left knee towards the left hand. And then you're going to walk your right foot and your right knee back. Let the knee come totally on the floor. Don't open the knee towards the sides. Keep the knee facing down because I want you to stretch your quad all the way to your hip. From your knee to the quad to the hip. And you can bring your elbows down to the floor if you can. And just stretch your right arm forward. So the whole entire right side of your body is stretching. Don't drop your right hip down to the floor. Keep your right hip elevated at the same distance as your left hip. Okay, if this is too much, then you don't have to bend the left knee so much. You don't have to reach your buttocks down to your heel. Okay, but I want you to feel the stretch of the front of your right leg. Here I'm going to scoot back a little bit here. Okay, so I can do it again. Come back into table. Lift the left knee and begin your circles, really wide circles, breathing in and out as you're feeling that hip opening. Good. Keeping your elbows nice and strong. Don't bend them too much. Really feeling the big circles here. And the opening of that right hip. And also feeling the difference between the left hip and the right hip is very important. Then coming back, bringing the right knee towards your right hand and scooting your left foot back, your left knee back. See, the knee faces down. It doesn't face outward, it faces down. Okay, so you're really stretching the front quad from the knee towards the hip, and then you stretch the left hand forward. You're really stretching the left side of your body. If this is too much for your right knee, don't bend, don't bring your hips all the way down. Just keep your hips a little elevated. Maybe your top of your right toes inward. And then you're just feeling the stretch here of your whole entire left side of the body. Okay, coming back into tabletop. Just staying here. Now we're going to stretch the right foot back, right heel back, and then we're going to bring the outside of the right foot on the floor, dropping the right hip down, kind of squeezing the inner thighs towards each other and relaxing the outer part of your sacrum so that that hip really gets a nice little stretch outward. And then we're going to place a right foot back, reaching back with the heel, and then going to turn your foot inwards and going to bring that right foot, right leg all the way to the left and look back and look at your foot if you can, squeezing your inner thighs towards each other and relaxing your sacrum and buttocks muscles outward so that that right hip really stretches outward. That right buttock really moves and kind of grabs the outside part of the hip and relaxes. Then bring the right foot right close to your right hand and squeeze the thigh into your arm. But bring that right hip back, left hip forward. Don't let that right hip go forward. Bring that right hip back so you really feel the stretch between the right hip and the right knee. And if you can come into your elbows or grab a block and place, or grab two blocks and place the blocks and place your forearms on top of the blocks. Okay, keep squeezing the thigh inward, bringing the right hip back. You can move the left foot back and the left knee, sliding it back a tiny bit so you can feel the stretch of the groin, stretch of the inner part of the thighs. Then looking forward, straining the spine, keep bringing the right hip back, and really press the right heel down on the floor, bring the right shin back as much as possible. And if you can, if you're more advanced, you can try it. If this is too hard, just come back with elbows or hands on the floor. You can walk your fingers forward. Keep squeezing the right heel back. feeling the toes almost like gripping the floor. You can move the hands together towards the left, but keeping the knee right on top of the ankle, that right heel down and the right heel moving back. It's really feeling the stability of that right foot, the right hip opening backwards, walking the hands forward and bringing hands again towards the center, and then pressing your right hand, not on the knee, but right above the knee, pressing the right hand and twisting and opening the chest, looking back, allowing space of all of your left side of the body, and also allowing the right hip to open outwards. You can see the bottom of the foot as the knife edge of the outside of the right foot turns down towards the floor, and then coming back, pressing your hands together and lifting the knee up off the floor, looking forward, straining the spine, reaching the crown of the head up and forward, or forward and up, all the way to the heel. The heel presses back, the activation of the knee, the kneecap moves upwards towards the left hip. And there's a stretching here of the hamstring and of the calf. Inhale, exhale. Keep bringing the knee towards your arm, thigh, towards the rib cage. And then bringing the right hand outside of the right foot, bringing the right foot a little bit towards the center, and pressing your hips back, straightening the leg, but keep pressing the right toe down. If you need a block, you have to put your hands on the block because you can't reach the floor. That's fine. You can use 2 blocks, place the hands, or just place your hands on your right hand on the block. The big toe presses down, and you can feel the stretch of the front of the foot towards the shin, towards the knee. The kneecap moves up towards the right hip. The right hip moves back as you release. Bend the knee, look forward. Bring the knee a little bit over the ankle here, just to make it a little bit of a stretch. If this is too much, you can place both hands on the block. If this is too much, just keep the knee right aligned with your ankle. It's no problem. Opening the chest here, and then going back again and bringing the toes towards your forehead, pressing the inside and the back side of the upper calf down towards the floor, pressing your middle of the quad down towards the floor. Keep the right hip moving backwards. Okay, your hands can be all the way towards your foot, or you can walk your hands, if you can't, towards the middle of the leg. Keeping the spine straight, and the head, see the head is aligned with the rest of the spine. Tailbone is moving back and down. And the back toes, you see the back toes are stretching of the left foot. And then press the left heel into a lunge position. And then coming back into tabletop. Now let's do the other side. First, let's stretch the left leg back, left heel back. Feeling the kneecap moving up towards the hip, then the outside of the left thigh moving inwards, and then you're going to drop on the outside of the left foot and just relax the outside part of your left hip. Good. I'm going to lift up, and then also just turn your toes to face inward, heel outward. Squeeze the center of both thighs towards each other. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Bring the left foot all the way to the right. Look at the left foot. Release any tension of the left side of your body. It should be a nice stretch from the armpit all the way to the heel, to the ankle. Squeeze the center of the thighs and relax your outer hips and sacrum. Stretch your leg back, Heel back. And slowly come back into table, or bring the left knee towards your left hand and place your foot very close to your left hand. Okay, you're going to move the right foot back a little bit, move the right knee back, or slide the right knee back. You can bring your toes in or bring the top of the foot down. And then you're going to squeeze the inner left thigh towards your rib cage, towards that arm. And then keep that knee trying to be right on top of the ankle and not moving it away. It's kind of hard because you're here opening the hip, and then you're going to bring your elbows down and just look forward, straining the spine, keeping your shoulders away from the ears as much as possible. Trying to move the left hip back, left knee back. And if you are a little bit more advanced, you can walk your fingers forward, straightening the spine, stretching the spine here, and then bringing both hands towards the right side. But keeping that inner part of the left thigh moving inward, not outward, inward, and the left hip moving back as much as possible. Don't let the knee collapse forward or collapse back. Keep pressing the left heel down, left shin down, left hip back. And bring your hands beside your foot. Walk your foot in between the hands. Look forward into lunge position. Open the chest. Roll the shoulders back. Straighten the spine. Come into a lunge position. Keep moving the left hip back, right hip forward, activating the front part of the right knee. The right knee moves upward towards the hip. The heel moves back. You'll feel it. You'll start feeling the stretch of the hamstring. The stretch of the back of the knee, which is so important. Don't let the left hip move outward. Look forward, opening the chest, straining the spine, and then coming back. Now, we can open the hip. I forgot here how to move the hip outward. You can bring your left hand inside of your left thigh and press the left thigh away from you, and then twist, looking back, and then come back. In this sequence in here, I forgot about it. Sorry about that. But here, we're going to press the big toe down and stretch your hips backwards. That left hip moves back as much as possible. You're stretching the front of the foot. Press the left toe down. Stretching the front of the foot, the front of the shin, all the way to the knee, towards the hip. The left hip moves back. Hands beside the foot or besides the leg as much as you can, and then come forward again into a sort of a overstretched, let's say, lunge position, where the knee is a little bit over the ankle. It's okay. We're not going to be here long. You're pressing the left heel down as much as possible to make the knee safe. And then we're going to go back again and lifting the toes off the floor, toes towards your forehead, keeping the hands beside the foot, or as much as you can, trying to straighten the knee by bringing the knee back towards the left hip. The hip moves back, and the toes facing the crown of the head or your forehead. Pressing towards the floor a little bit, your upper calf and the middle of the thigh, pressing down towards the floor. Keep bringing the kneecap up towards your left hip back. We're feeling the stretch here of the whole back side of your right leg, your psoas. And then lifting, coming forward, and then lifting your right knee off the floor, pressing the heel back, kneecap moves upwards towards the right hip, Opening the chest, making that lunge very nice and beneficial for the spine and for the legs. And then you're going to widen the knees, bring big toes together, and come into a wide knee child pose. Maybe taking the block and placing it on your forehead so that your center of the chest can really relax down to the floor. Your belly can relax onto the floor. And here your shoulder blades begin to separate from the center towards the floor as you relax here. Okay, looking forward here. And walking your hands back, bringing your knees together, toes inward, press the balls of the feet, all the balls of the feet, like from the center, the metatarsal they're called, all the way towards the outside, the little metatarsals. And just sit to the Rajasana, hero's pose. Okay, now we're going to come back to Rajasana on the side of your mat. So come on the side of the mat. And if your knees bother you, I recommend that you use some kind of cushion underneath, like the blanket underneath the knees, because we're going to be on our knees for a while. Okay, so come into Rajasana, straighten the spine, press the hands on the thighs. And then we're going to bring our arms forward and then press up. Bring the hips forward, the tush is facing the knees. So as you exhale, come down, belly goes in. Again, inhale, hips forward, tailbone faces the center of the thighs, tush faces the heels or faces the knees, and exhale, come down. Again, inhale, open, reach up, center of the chest up, and exhale, come down. And again, inhale, so the toes are really pressing down, the shins are pressing down, hips are facing forward. You can find like a little bit of release in the front of the hips. So now you're going to come up on your knees and you're going to bring your right foot outward. Your heel is the same alignment as your knee, and your whole knee, hip, and left shoulder is aligned. Then the right and the left hand is aligned. So you're going to look forward. You're going to open the right shoulder, open the right palm upwards, and begin to slide towards the right side. Your hip, keep opening the hip. Bring the right buttock inward. So roll the right buttock inwards towards the center of your thigh so that you can really open both hips up. The tailbone faces down towards your left knee. You open the chest. Bring the left elbow back. Open the chest, twist a little bit. Put your weight on the outside of the right foot, but bring the inner part of your right arch upwards towards the inside of your calf and knee. And then we're going to twist simply towards that right foot, keeping your inner ankle moving upwards towards your inner knee, towards your inner tailbone or sit bone. And then you're going to lift your left arm up and come back into gateway pose. Lifting the center of the chest, opening the hips. You can place the top of the foot down if you are more comfortable like this. And then you're going to move towards the right side, Straightening the spine, not curving the spine. Don't curve the spine. Just placing the left hand down on the floor and moving the right arm up and over. Keep your weight on the outside of your right foot and bringing the energy from the inside of your ankle towards the inner part of the knee, towards your inner part of your pelvis, like this, the sit bone or the tailbone. Opening the chest, twisting. This is a nice, beautiful twist as well. Feeling the left rib cage moving upwards and the right rib cage moving back. Straighten the arms, gateway pose, and come back to center. Come into Vrajasana again. And just kind of notice what happened on your left side and what happened on your right side. Just enjoying the energy that you built. Very good. Okay, we're going to do the next side. Either toes in or tops of the feet down, pressing the shins down as much as possible so that there's not a lot of weight on your kneecaps, rather than more distributed at the front of the foot. And bring your left foot outward, left foot parallel to the outside of your mat. Keep the right side of your body aligned, the knee, hip, shoulder, and reach up with the right hand. And reach outward with the left hand, palm facing up, roll your shoulder back, and begin to twist or begin to fall, to lean on to the left side without going forward or going back. Your spine is aligned towards your thigh and knee. The inner part of the left arch of the foot or ankle moves inward towards the inner part of the knee and into the inner part of the thigh towards the inside of the pelvis, opening the pelvis. And then as you breathe here for 3 or 4, and then you come into a little twist, trying to bring your forehead towards your shin. Keep your weight on the outside part of your left foot, but bring that arch is moving upwards, so the inner part of your thigh. And then you lift your right arm up as you come up into gateway pose. Now you're going to move to the other side. Bring your right hand down. Lift the left hand up. Open the chest. Keep your spine, your chest aligned with your hips. And you're going to squeeze the inner ankle of your left foot upwards towards the inner part of your knee, towards the inner part of your pelvis, like towards your sit bone. And then reach over with the left hand, open the chest. Keep trying to bring the right rib cage upwards, the left rib cage outwards towards the back wall, the belly button, the navel twists towards the ceiling and back. The right shoulder always turns back, the elbow also always facing back and towards your legs even. Lift the left hand up as you inhale, gateway pose, and exhale, Vrajasana again. Feeling the effects of what you're doing. Very slow. As you move slower, the slower you move, the more the energy can be accommodated to those areas better, and then you can really feel that energy moving through the body and the effects of that energy. The faster you move, the faster your heartbeat and the faster your breathing, and then your thoughts take over. Okay, so next thing we're going to move to the center of the mat again into Vrajasana. We're going to do a kind of tricky pose, okay? You're going to bring your toes in, knees up. I'm going to lift the knees up, balance, keep the knees together, the ankles together. Balance, and bring the knees down. And again. And now bring your fingers down. Start walking your fingers forward, dropping your head in between your arms, And reaching your sit bones down towards the floor. And bringing your heels down towards the floor as much as possible. Keeping the knees towards each other, squeezing the thighs towards each other. Relaxing the lower back, middle back, upper back. And feeling the shoulder blades moving away from the center. Shoulder blades move outward towards the thighs. Really feeling the neck dropping. Very good. And now you're going to do a little balancing here. You're going to try to place your hands on not on the knees exactly, but the upper part of the knees and thighs. And you're going to straighten the spine, balancing. And now let's roll that blanket, or if you have another mat, rolling the mat halfway. And let's step over and place your heels on that roll, but the metatarsals and all of the toes are open and pressing down on the floor. And you're going to again squat, but with your knees close at first. Pressing the heels down. This will relax your ankles, strengthen the ankles. And now you're going to start opening the knees wide as possible. Bring the heels together. The balls of the foot, the inner balls of the foot together, the toes facing outward. And then you're going to start to try to reach your elbows towards the floor. You're going to round your spine just a tiny bit. And then you're going to reach over your shins with your arms and try to either grab your heels or interlace your hands, dropping your head down. Keep opening the knees move outward. Okay, you're going to lift your hips up. You're going to try to reach your hands, reach your clasp or like a chain, reach your hands together over the shins, or you're going to try to reach your hips or reach the back of your sacrum and interlace the fingers. I can't interlace my fingers in this position just because my torso is very long and my arms are not short, but my torso is very long. And the shoulders really roll forward. They roll forward so the shoulder blades move away from each other and they roll like a little turtle. Okay? And now you're going to come to the center, reach your arms up. Press your heels down, press your metatarsals, and knees facing upwards. You're going to stand up. You're going to stand up onto the heels. And you're going to come into Tadasana with the heels supported by this roll. And breathe here. And step forward into Tadasana.